Hey everybody, Andrew Newland here with newtography.com, and today I'm going to go over a little bit of the infrastructure of how we organize files here at Newtography. And this is not some innovative thing. It's pretty smart, but I mean a lot of professionals are doing it, so it's nothing that's really just remarkable. But here's how we do it. So I just threw a couple pictures in here just to speed things up and get you going. This is going to be our memory card, okay? So this is your memory card that you pop in your computer. And this folder I'm using, you can call whatever this is. Say these two were taken in Australia, I would call it Australia. If these two were from a basketball game or whatever, this is the name of your folder, and it can be in your pictures or whatever folder you want it. But we start with one folder. In this one folder, we're going to make 3 new folders. A Lightroom folder, a RAW folder, and a JPEG folder. Alright, so those are the 3 folders within our main folder that we're going to use. So first things first, we have pictures over here on the memory card. What we're going to do is select all, and there could be anywhere from these 2 to 5,000 pictures. You're just going to select them all and drag them over here to the RAW folder. Okay. Probably shouldn't have moved them. It'll probably copy them, but whatever. You just want to get them in this RAW folder. Alright, so that's where all our RAW files are stored. Now, if you watched the previous video on Lightroom, you know that Lightroom runs off of catalogs. So in this Lightroom folder, what we're going to do is we're going to create a new catalog, save as, I'm just saving as LR Practice. This is where you would type in whatever it is, basketball game, Australia, shoot, road trip, blah, 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 whatever. You can do tags if you want to do that. And we're going to go and navigate to our folder. Here we go. Lightroom Practice. And then in that Lightroom folder, this is where we're going to save this catalog. All right. So it's going to close it. It's going to reopen with a new catalog. Now what this does is having this one main folder allows us to have all the RAW files, the catalog, the JPEG, and everything, so that if I wanted to transfer files to my photo editors, which, one of our photo editors that lives in Pennsylvania and I'm here in Tennessee, so we would do it through whatever, we use Pogo as a cloud-based storage, so I could transfer this one folder, upload it, just if this was Dropbox or whatever you want to use, or Gmail, I would upload it there, and then she would have access to everything. She could come in here and she could click on this right here, and her Lightroom software would open up the exact same catalog that I have on my computer. So that's why we do this. That main folder right there contains everything we need, and we can just shift that one folder around anywhere we need, and it stays intact, and everybody can see all the adjustments that anybody else has made. And it just is a really great way to keep everything organized and everybody on the same page. We have a lot of staff and more coming on every day, so it's really important that we have this procedure that keeps us all right there on the same page. Alright, so now we're in Lightroom. We're going to talk about just the library module today. Up here we have the modules in Lightroom. We have library, develop, map, book, slideshow, print, web. Library is where we keep track of the library, obviously. Develops, you're going to do your adjustments. Map, if you want to geotag anything, it's going to bring up like Google Earth or whatever. You can geotag them. Book, if you want to make a photo book using, what do they use, Blurb or any of those. You can do slideshows. If you want to throw a slideshow up on the TV, you can create the slideshow. Print, it's going to give you good proofing for printing. I use that quite a bit. And then web, if you need to make a web gallery. So these are our modules. Let's get back over here to the library. In the library, this is how we are going to import our files. All right. We're going to navigate to the folder that has our RAW files over here on the left. You can see what I'm doing. I go to my folders, and I just like regular old anything else, navigate to where our folders are. RAW, boom, that's the folder where my RAW files are. So what this allows us to do, since we moved the files before Lightroom, you could, if you just put your memory card in, this is probably going to pop up in Lightroom. But we want to move those files before we get to Lightroom. The reason being is because whenever you just pop your memory card in, it's going to copy them. So they're going to be on your memory card, and it's just going to copy them to some, like, whatever folder you designate, some like big long date and folder that's lost somewhere and you can't really get a hold of it. So we do that beforehand so that when we get in here, these folders aren't physically going anywhere. These files aren't going anywhere. They're staying exactly where they are. The only thing that's changing is the Lightroom catalog is adding these folders to it. So if you think of the Lightroom catalog like the roadmap, then it's saying, oh, these are some of the, it's just saying, hey Lightroom, these are the files that he wants to edit or whatever. It just brings them into our catalog in Lightroom. So let's go over some of this stuff real quick. I don't want to move too fast. Some of the basic things this is all pretty self-explanatory. You can sort them by file name, capture time, blah, blah, blah. Thumbnails, you can make them bigger, smaller. Check all, uncheck all, whatever. You can go to one photo at a time. Library view. This over here is where we navigate to our files and our folders. You can copy these as digital negatives if you'd like. This is all, I'm kind of showing you how I do it, but I'm just going over this so I can show you just the ins and outs of Lightroom and what all you can do. You can copy them as digital negatives, which some people like doing that. That kind of gives you a universal format. You can copy, which makes a copy from whatever folder they're in to a new folder. You can move them, which moves them from A folder to B folder, or what we're going to do is add them. So this is another thing that's pretty cool up here. If you have, say you have a memory card that you put in, and you're in a catalog and you've just taken more pictures on the memory card and all the old ones are still there that you've already imported, you can either be in all folder, all files. Oh, got a phone call. Anyway, sorry about that. So if you've got all photos selected, it's going to show you all the photos. But if it already has some, if it already has some of the photos in your catalog, and you click New Photos, it's only going to show you the new photos. So in this case, just for speed's sake, I only had 2 photos. Let's go over here real quick. File handling, build previews. You can select. This gets a little in depth over here. I'm guessing if you're looking at this basics of Lightroom, you're not going to really want to mess with this. So my suggestion is keep it on minimal. I wouldn't mess with that. And I would just, to keep it basic, I wouldn't touch any of this, to be honest with you. We'll make an in-depth Lightroom video and we'll go over some of that stuff. Apply during import. This is something that you can really utilize to save you a lot of time. So, for an example, I shoot a lot of sports. So say I shot a basketball game. One thing that I could do is, since this basketball game, the lighting is consistent because I'm shooting on manual, so all the photos are going to be the exact same exposure throughout the whole shoot. I could bring in one photo and I could edit that one photo with just basic edits, exposure, just whatever you want to do, vignetting, any of that stuff, just basic color correction, all that jazz. I could edit that one and I could save it as a preset. Just call it the basketball preset. And then I could come in here and it would show up right here into user presets. And I've got some hockey, yeah, so I could apply this hockey, or it would be basketball in that case, to all of the photos I'm about to import. And that would save me the time of, instead of editing every single photo the same way, since all the lighting is consistent, it would apply that edit to all of the photos as it's bringing them in. So that saves me a lot of time, and that's a trick that I use in sports, is I do that, and then all I have to do is really go in and make basic crop adjustments and small things, and that saves a ton of time. So that's what this develop settings apply during import is. You can also have metadata. So what I do is I like to keyword things. So I can go in and just apply any keywords or metadata that I've created to all the photos upon import. So right here you can click New. It'll bring up a little thing. You type out all the metadata, blah, 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 all this stuff, and then click name it. Say basketball, if we're in that example, we could tag the schools and all that jazz. Name it, and then click create, and then it would show up over here. We can apply that. And then here's where we can add keywords. Keywords are a good way of organizing if you take a lot of photos. All right, anyway, back to base. Here we go. So we're going to import, and it's just going to add these 2 files. They're going to stay in that raw folder. It's just going to add them to our Lightroom catalog. All right, so that is pretty simple, right? That's how we get things into Lightroom and how we stay organized while doing it. If you were to just open up Lightroom and just go to town without any organization, after a while it's going to get pretty substantial. You're going to have a lot, tons and tons of collections and catalogs, and all this stuff is going to get way out of hand after a while, and it's going to slow it down, and you're just going to have a hard time finding anything. So this is the way that we use to stay organized, stay on top of things, and import into Lightroom. Real quick, before we get out of here, I'll go over the library module here, just to knock that out so I don't have to make another video. So basically you got import and export, you've got publish services over here, so you could set up your whatever, Facebook, any of that stuff, description. You would, this is how you make the album, you'd authorize your Facebook, blah, blah, blah. You can export straight from Lightroom to Facebook, to Behance or Flickr, or to a folder on your hard drive. That's not particularly how I do it. I find it more effective just to either select all and then go to export, and then from here I can apply everything and go to a specific folder. That's just how I do it. There's several different ways of reaching the same goal, but this allows me, a lot of times, especially in landscape stuff, I would pick exactly where I want my watermark. So I use watermarks. You don't have to. If you don't like it, that's fine, whatever. I kind of like my logo, and I've got a lot of compliments on it. So I go into here, and I place that watermark wherever I think it should be. I've got big and small watermarks for top left, top right, blah, blah, blah. All this stuff, black watermarks for whatever, and so, and then I've got an actual watermark for sales, uploading for sale. So that's just how I export, but there's a lot of different ways you can do that. Like, let me show you that again. All I do is right click, go down here to export, and you can export. Say I exported this one with a watermark in the bottom right, and I wanted to do the same to this one. I could just go to export, export with previous, don't have to do anything except click that. It's going to send it exactly where it sent that other one. Same type of watermark, same deal. So over here you've got your basic stuff. You got a histogram here, which this also gives you the information: ISO 111 millimeters f8, 1/25 of a second, and then this just shows how many photos we have selected. So we've got one photo, original photo. If I select all the photos right here, it's going to say I have 2 original photos with 0 smart reviews. Okay. That's kind of negligible stuff right there that you don't really need to worry about. Quick develop. So if you want, let's run over this stuff right here. You can do XY, that kind of compares the two side by side if you have 2 different angles or something. And then you've got this, and you can use that. And this is for this is like XY, but you can do it with multiples. If I had like 4 or 5 up here. So if I wanted to use the quick develop tab, I'd go down here and click the square, bring it up. And then just really basic stuff. So I can jump down a whole stop in exposure. I can go up or down by 1/3 of a stop. Here I can do auto tone, where it kind of automatically adjusts it for me. Same thing with clarity, up and down a full stop or a 1/3 stop, and vibrance, up and down with full stop. Vibrance is not saturation. So vibrance basically takes the color that's already there and makes it more vivid. Saturation amplifies and adds color. So I hope that's a correct description. That's just my assessment of what that does. And then reset all. All right, so that's the quick develop. We've also got keywording. I do keywording. You can do individual keywording. I do keywording upon import, and then I do kind of generic keywords on import, to where if it was a basketball album, the keywords would be basketball. It would be University of Tennessee. It would be like the generic things that describe every single picture in there. Then if you want to, you can quick scroll back and forth through them and add specific keywords. And you can actually have keyword sets. So outdoor photography, that'll bring up things like macro flowers, and then you can just, bam, click on these things and they're going to show up there. All right, so that gives you a really good keywording tool, which you may not use, but in the future, if you get hundreds of thousands of photos like me and you want to find them real quick, being able to search by keyword is a very great thing. And then you can have keyword lists here. Metadata, we kind of went over that. I do all this stuff upon import. This tells you all the metadata. So this gets really specific and lets you edit a lot of the stuff. And then comments. I think selected service does not support comments. Okay, whatever. That's nothing that I ever use. Another thing that's available down here that we'll go over real quick is sync and sync settings. So if we were to, real quick, if we were to bump up the exposure, bump up the clarity some more, bump up the vibrance some, blah, 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 and we just made these minor adjustments real quick here. And we wanted to say down here on your little film strip or timeline, whatever they call it, and there's a ton of photos. If we Control A or Command A or whatever and select all of them, if you wanted to apply that to all of them, so the analogy with the basketball game I talked about earlier about applying that upon import, this is just another way to do the same thing. So if I've edited one photo and I want to do that same edit to every single photo, I can select them all and I can say sync, or this is going to synchronize metadata, and then sync settings. That's what the sync there syncs the metadata. So if I didn't add the metadata upon import, I could do it here and I could sync it, and then sync settings is going to be where I edited the one photo. I want to add it to all of the photos. So that's just another way to get from point A to point B. All right, so down here I use this quite a bit. So I'll usually have hundreds, if not thousands, of photos in here, and I will hold. Let's see if I can get this up there. I have this right here that I have the ratings programmed set to 5, 4, 3, blah blah blah. Flag as pick, unpick. So that's what I use. But another way you can do that is quick scrolling. I do this to every single photo. So I'll have an album up. I'll have my thumb on the right thing, and I'll have my fingers on 3, 4, and 5. And I go through and I leave all of the just bland nothing photos at 0. And any photo that kind of makes me stop and look, I'll rate it a 3, 4, or 5. Okay. And that way, I go through, say, 100 photos. I rate them all 3, 4, and 5. Say, by the end of that, say I have 60 photos that are rated. Then I'll go back through those 60 photos, and I will I'll kind of do minute adjustments. So I'll say right here is how you click. You click the 3-star, and it'll only show 3-star or higher. All right. So if I had all those 60, they would show up here, and then from there I'd go through all those. And I'd kind of make minor adjustments on the 3s and 4s. Some of the 4s that aren't very good, I'm going to move down to 3s. Some of the 3s that are pretty good, I'm going to bump up to 4s. And then what I'm going to do is go over here and say, only show me the 4-star or higher images. That's going to narrow it down to, say, 30 images. All right, and of the 100 I started with, the 4 and 5-star images are the only images that I edit. Okay, so that's how I do things. I go through and I do it that way. And then if you really need to get picky with it, you can flag some. Say you have 30 and you want to pick the best. You could either, I mean, I don't know what scenario you would use this in. I forget. Sometimes if I've edited some, I'll go ahead and flag them. Once I've edited them, you can filter through the flags, the ones that are flagged. So pressing the P button flags it as a pick, and then filters only flagged photos that are 4 stars or higher. And then I could, if I did that to 10 images that I wanted to upload to Facebook or Google Plus or something, those 10 images would show up down here, and I could Control A and then right-click them, go back to my view mode, right-click them, and I could export all of those with the same settings. So you can also get more specific, and they have colors. You can just set a color label on each one of them: red, yellow, green, blue, purple, gray, light gray, dark gray. Anyway, I don't ever usually do that. That's just another way to get picky. And anyway, so yeah, I like rating my photos. That's how I quickly run through. As soon as I bring them in, I'm rating them 3, 4, 5, one of those 2, and then I go back and I filter all the 3s, 4s, and 5s, adjust the 3s and 4s, and then I filter only 4s and 5s, and that's all I edit is 4s and 5s. Because I only want to show the best stuff out there, and I only upload the 5s, and specifically the best 5s. There's some stuff up here that I've never personally used. Okay, this filters videos, virtual copies. So if I were to click this and say make a copy, which I can usually create virtual copy, then I could filter out just the virtual copies. That's what that is. And this is just videos, and then the master photos, so it would get rid of the virtual copies, blah, 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 colors. Yeah, so same type deal. Now, I think we've touched on pretty much everything. Real quick, the Navigator over here, if you have multiple imports, you can go to the previous import, you can create quick collections by clicking this little white thing here. And then if you do that to a bunch of different photos, then you click over here and it's only going to show you those photos that you made a quick collection out of. Previous import, and then we can do all photographs. So if you've imported 3 or 4 different times to the same catalog and you want to see everything, you can go to all photographs. Folders, this is just basically the raw folder that these photos are in. Smart collections, it's pretty self-explanatory. This up here is the Navigator, same thing as Photoshop. It's just basically a way to zoom in. You can zoom in halfway, you can zoom in 1:1, you can zoom in 11:1 if you want to, you can zoom in 2:1, whatever, fill the screen, fit to screen, basic stuff. And then these are just basically rotate photo, left or right, standard stuff, pick, unpick. So that is the ins and outs of organization in the library module inside Lightroom. I hope this helped you guys, and I hope this made you realize how powerful Lightroom is, and this is just the beginning. This is barely scratching the surface. Whenever I'm going to make the develop module here pretty soon, and whenever we go over all this stuff in the develop module, it's really going to blow you away. But sorry that I've disabled the comments. I just don't have time to moderate the comments here on YouTube. I apologize. But if you have any questions or comments, you can head over to newtography.com, and from there you can find me via all the social media links there, and then follow me up on whatever social media you like, or send me an email, and I just have a lot easier time replying and getting back to people via Facebook or Instagram or all that social media stuff that I actually pay attention to. I don't have time to get onto YouTube every day and pay attention to that. So yeah, hit me up there. And yeah, click the subscribe button wherever it is. I'm not sure, but I hope this helped you guys, and I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope you get Lightroom and all that jazz. Yeah, so yes, that's pretty much it. Andrew Newland with newtography.com signing off. Love you, bye.